All right, to finish this packet off, how to find a given term of an arithmetic sequence once you have the explicit formula. So, I'm going to do arithmetic and I'm also going to do geometric, and then we're going to finalize the objectives for this piece of learning by also talking about how to find the first four terms of a sequence if given the explicit formula. So I'm going to use these two explicit formulas, one right here and one right here. Arithmetic first we're going to do. So how to find a given term in arithmetic sequence. Let's say we want to find the 50th term. The 50th term. So I'm going to write, instead of a sub n, I'm going to write a sub 50. So we're trying to find the 50th term. So this is going to be denoted, you'll see this a lot. What is n equals 50? So what is the 50th term? We're going to figure that out by placing, hopefully you considered in the last video, that if I want to find a given term, it has to be inputted into the variable in this equation. Negative 9 stays the same, my explicit formula, plus 7 times, instead of n, hopefully you've guessed it, I put the number that we want to evaluate, 50 minus 1. Now, in your calculator, you can enter this in as is, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. If you enter that in as is, you should get negative 9 plus 7, please try this, times 50 minus 1. So I have the 50th term, a sub 50, is 334. Meaning, if I go back up to my original sequence, the 50th term, the 50th term is 334. Remember, this is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. The 50th is 334. Now, if you don't have a graphing calculator at home, you can still use a calculator you do have on your phone. You would just have to do order of operations, and I'll do that down here quick. You have to do parentheses first. So I have negative 9 plus 7 times 50 minus 1 is 49. 7 times 49 you can do on your phone is 343. So I have negative 9 plus 343. 343 plus negative 9 gives me, in fact, 334. So you can still do this at home. Now, geometric, same thing. How to find a given term of a geometric sequence if given the explicit formula. I still want to find n equals 50. So what is a sub 50? A sub 50 in this geometric up here formula that I derived a little bit earlier, 2 times 2 raised to the n minus 1. So I have 2 times 2 raised to the, you guessed it, hopefully instead of n I'm going to write 50 minus 1. Now if you want to put this in your calculator as is, you need to put these in parentheses. Otherwise you can also write it like this, a sub 50 equals 2 times 2 raised to the 50 minus 1 is 49. Either way works. 2 times 2 raised to the 49 is an incredibly large number in this case. A sub 50 equals, I'm going to do it in scientific notation, 1.13 times 10 raised to the 15. So as you can see, the 50th term of an arithmetic sequence, still pretty big, 334. The 50th term of a geometric sequence is very large, meaning that this 1.13 continues on, the decimal point continues on to the right 15 times, so it's quite a large number. Be able to explain, if I ask that question in class, be thinking about why that is, in reference to the explicit formulas. This is multiplication, and this is addition. Also, this has a power, this does not. Be able to explain why that is. Now, if I wanted to find the first four terms of any sequence if given the explicit formula. So my original explicit formula over here is a sub n equals -9 plus 7 times n minus 1. If I want to find the first four terms, and you can write this on the back side of your paper if you have room, otherwise a sheet of notebook paper. First four terms of this formula, of this explicit formula, I would just put, if I want a sub 1, the first term, I put -9 plus 7 times 1 minus 1. So the first term, -9 plus 7, 1 minus 1 is 0, so 7 times 0 is 0. The first term, a sub 1 equals -9. That should line up, because this is the explicit formula from above, that should line up with our first term of -9 up here. The second term, you still do the math. A sub 2 equals -9 plus 7 times n minus 1, but instead of n I'm going to put 2 minus 1 because I'm trying to find the second term. 2 minus 1 is 1, 7 times 1 is 7, -9 plus 7, a sub 2 equals -2. The third term, you do the same thing, you put it in for n. Go ahead and make sure your math is right, so go ahead and find the third and the fourth term, but it should line up with the third and the fourth term up here. That's a good way to check your work. In the sequence, it's the same thing. You put in, if I want to find the first four terms of, if I'm given this explicit formula, a sub n equals 2 times 2 raised to the n minus 1, if I want to find the first term, a sub 1, I put 2 times 2 raised to the 1 minus 1. Instead of n, I just replaced it with 1 because I'm trying to find the first term. And then I do that math. A sub 1 equals 2 raised, 1 minus 1 is 0, anything raised to 0 is 1. A sub 1 is 2. You can check your work. A sub 1 is indeed 2. My first term is 2. That's that process. So I'd repeat that process. So go ahead and find a sub 2, 3, and 4 just to check your work.